Hi, everybody. Hi. Rainbow hugs. Rainbow hugs. Good afternoon. We are so filled with light and we are so excited. My name is Joanna, and this is the early morning Ascension show. Whatever time of day of night it is or morning it is, it's always early morning for us. It's when we hit the day running. It's when we're pulling it all together and making something happen. That's what we do. It's what we do. Thank you for tuning in. And we're so excited. Gone through so much change in the past little while, really harmonizing into this new thread of higher vibrational co-creations with my teams and calling in those soul aspects and soul fragments. So today we're going to talk about a bit of a healing journey that we're all moving through, various rungs of the ladder, if you will, on calling in all of those soul aspects and fragments and experiences and densities that we've all experienced in this dimension and other dimensions, other realms. All that we are becoming is the wholeness and the unity of all that we are. And we manifest experiences that we see and that are reflected and that are observed in our outside reality, because there's aspects of experience of our whole culmination between 3 and 5D, because that's what we're focusing on right now, is healing those aspects of us between 3 and 5D. Each of us has come forward with the chosen responsibility and the chosen accountability to heal 51% of our karma from reality explorations from 3 to 5D in our journeys of separation from source that we chose to partake in, that we chose to create those explorations of, because we knew that we understood at some point we'll remember how to harmonize who we are, we'll remember to call ourselves back into unity and peace, and we'll remember how to heal ourselves from within and without. That is the becoming of the eternal light, the eternal breath, the eternal life. Knowing that we are always eternal with spirit, that we will always be called for greater life, greater exploration. And it is within the divine birthright of every aspect of life within this known universe to have the upholding of exploration and liberation through the evolutionary process. And that is the promise of God, the one God, the creator God of all levels, of all dimensions, that everyone will be given their rights to explore who they are in the highest evolutionary programs of light and beings of light, because we're all connected not only in just this one dimension of co-creation, but all of us are threaded to all aspects of our wholeness of our soul. And our soul is infinite, our soul is eternal. It's broken off into these fractal, I just see everything as crystal fragments, and the greater perspective of what a crystal really is, a dodecahedron. Those are aspects of you experiencing co-creative experiences on all dimensions, all realms, all bodies, all forms, all planets. And so thus then, therefore, 3 to 5 dimensions is a lot of lifetime experience. And Spirit said, okay, well, those of you that are on Earth right now, you've all chosen to be there at this very profound time because you knew at some point you would awaken to the grander part of who you are, the allness of who you are, the operating as a soul of who you are. You can operate as a soul and therefore call in those aspects of beliefs and duality and perspectives that keep you in separation from who you are at the core, which is you in spirit. This is a top-down effect of who you are within all dimensions, all bodies, all realms, between 3 and 5D, or to the highest universe. It can be micro, macro, whatever you want. But all of these are aspects of your experience on different dimensional threads, different dimensional planes, different dimensional experiences and bodies and forms and planets, programs, contracts, missions that you've chosen to take, bodies that you've chosen to take, experiences that you've chosen to be a part of. And all is playing within the wholeness of your soul. Why you will have ascension cycles that play out certain themes and certain stories so that you can culminate all of those soulful lessons and bring this in this now profound moment of who you are. Who you are becoming right now is the most powerful moment to bring this now moment into the constitution of your wholeness, the commandmentship of your wholeness, the commandmentship of your sovereignty. And every soul has been promised by Spirit God that you have your birthright and your rights as a human, your rights as a universal being, your rights as a celestial being, regardless of what the human laws are. They're all going to be realigned to the fifth dimensional cosmic galactic universal laws, forwarding and folding into the universal law of one. For we are all preparing ourselves to become our galactic cosmic selves. As we're healing the 3 to 5 dimensions, we're allowing ourselves to prepare ourselves to be galactic humans, celestial humans, the height of who we are as celestial beings in human body form, taking on greater light, taking on greater wisdoms, and activating the DNA. As we activate the DNA, we're activating all of the intelligence, the memories, the soul memory, the gift memories, the talents, the gifts, and the wisdoms of all that we are as a soul, and we get to use them in this now moment. That's why many people will find themselves becoming interested in, creating that experience of co-creation in a creative way or manner in which has never been done before, i.e. using Ascension and light language as songs, as benevolent harmony, to further align us with higher vibrational co-creative threads of becoming, co-creative threads of what we call, I am a conduit, I'm a visionary. Part of our discussion today will be understanding the healing process and why you go through what you go through, why you're triggered in the way you are, why you see unfold in your reality what you see, and why your attention is drawn to it, why your focus and your direction is drawn to it, is because there's aspects of those soul fragment experiences that are saying that with God, with the alliance of light, you can call in that and harmonize it and open up to greater light and greater co-creative potential. The human potential is infinite and limitless. It is within the unknown that the infinite exists. So why we release ourselves from that fear of the unknown. I'm fearful of moving forward because I don't know what exists there. That's where the infinite is. So let go and step into those parts of life that might be uncomfortable, those parts of life that might challenge you, because that's exactly where the infinite exists, where you thought you're pressing yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, vibrationally, cosmically, universally, celestially, because you know that you're a part of it and you're harmonizing as a part of it. So your creative experiences are infinite. There's never a time when you cannot create something new. But as you're triggered in everyday life, as you're moving through challenges in everyday life, it's about you coming back to that center of who you are, realigning with the profundity of who you are, maximizing all that you have learned by saying, okay, well, that didn't work. I'm going to do this now. When you continue to behave and to act and to do the same patterns and the same things, you're not stepping off any new cycle. You're not starting any new cycle. For you cannot expect change if you keep doing the same thing. So that's where the healing needs to begin. There's unhealed wounds, there's unhealed beliefs that think that I must stay on this cycle because that's where change occurs. So if you're not seeing change and you feel blocked and you feel stagnant, then there's something in that cycle that must be learned. The lesson has not been learned yet. The mind cannot take you on ascension. It is a tool only. That's it. It is the spirit that quickeneth. It is the spirit that harmonizes those soul fragments through your purity of intent, through your alchemy, through your daily self-care and your daily work, for you knowing that I'll choose more than anything to feel better. I want to release myself from this depression. Depression are those suppressed emotional experiences, those suppressed emotional creativities, those suppressed emotional expressions of who you are, being stomped and pushed down by your own choice because of the environments that you live within, the circles that you are surrounded within, and the energies that you're taking on that you don't have to. Those are all by choice. And it is, again, through our lack of understanding about who we are multidimensionally, how to heal ourselves multidimensionally, and how to expand within the higher vibrational realms of play. Everybody has the same access. Everybody has the same free will. And every soul is meant to be on exactly the path they're meant to be on. No two people are meant to be on the exact same path. They can't be. It's impossible. They can assist one another and help one another and uplift one another, but each soul is carrying different and unique experiences. Every soul is carrying different and unique 3, 4, 5D experiences in different bodies, different forms, different planets. And Spirit, God, the Creator, has each and every soul. God knows exactly what's in all moments, and God is the harmonizer, the unifier of everything in between. All that is space, and why you find when you're moving through your cycles of ascension, when you're moving through the release of what was, those aspects of you that were holding you back in stagnant beliefs and stagnant limitations of yourself, when you reach up and you start harmonizing and you start releasing those beliefs that are no longer yours, you're transmuting them through your acknowledgement, you're transmuting them through your acceptance, and you're making peace with the past, if you will. Peace with the past that you might not cognitively remember those timelines of destruction. You might not remember those timelines where you held someone in captivity and now you're being held in captivity. You might not remember those times where you've harmed someone and those timelines where you've harmed someone, and now you're in a moment of exchange where you're having to step up and help someone else, because that's how you feel that other aspect of the infinity cycle, to feel that other vibration of giving, because opposed you were taking. Everything in your now moment allows you to balance out those experiences that were held in darkness or fragmentation. There was an experience earlier, and she's probably watching this show, so thank you. Hi, you know who you are. There was an experience that I was shown for this one particular client where there was a tragic accident that occurred in one of her celestial timelines, and there was a fragmentation of her soul. Any harmful experience that happens with the soul is a fragmentation, and we've all experienced and why we see the tragedies that unfold on our planet, for it reminds us of how sacred and how valued and how precious we each are. Any type of harm done to the physical body in any way is a bruise and It's like an impalement on the soul itself, and the soul has to heal from it. The soul has to heal that fragmentation. That fragmentation is the wounding of when you've told yourself, shown yourself, or experienced for yourself by choice with God, with the experience and the programs that you're sitting within, through the choices of your experience that you've chosen for the greater good of all, for your own greater good of your soul, that you wanted to experience separation. And many of us have had many timelines where we've chosen to experience harms to ourselves, to our bodies, or to our souls in certain ways, where we've been taken out through war, through pain, through trauma, through the violence that we've seen on our planet has been through the stories that we play and that we see and that we observe in the reflection of what separation truly is. When we separate ourselves from spirit, when we separate ourselves from our bodies or from all of the other versions of us that are in co-creative abilities with spirit in all moments and all ways, how we judge and how we separate each other from our religions, from our race, from our color, from our dynamics of being male or female, from our sexual preferences. There's so much judgment, definition, and suppression and such, from outdated dogma, from outdated beliefs, from outdated separations. All of those become wounds upon the soul, and all of those become the culmination, darker energies that culminate into what we see in our social world as tragedies or unnecessary violence or crime, because they're all based in the separation foundation. And when somebody goes through experience like that, whether it's them or another person, because we are one, if a violent occurrence happens here, we feel it throughout the all. And that's when our vibrational experience of compassion and calling in those energies of compassion to offer compassion and empathy for those that have gone through such tragedies are aspects of us. And how you can heal those global creative experiences through understanding oneness and understanding the universal laws and understanding who you are as a soul, because your soul is literally the human collective playing out. And what you see and what you call forward to you is your soul requiring your acknowledgement, your soul requiring your acceptance, your soul requiring your forgiveness. It's your separative soul experience asking for its oneness. And separative experiences don't have to unfold. Crime doesn't have to be crime. It's the experience of lack of self, the lack of definition of self, because you haven't told yourself that you're one with spirit. You haven't shown yourself that you're one with spirit. So you focus all of your attention on the outer reality, for what you need is truly all within. It always has been and always will be. No outer experience can put a value of who you are. No outer experience can give you a title and make you feel better. No outer experience can give you what God is. And so this experience today, I saw a tragedy that was occurring for this one person in their Akash, and we did a healing experience, and we called that fragment of experience in for her to reclaim and for her to acknowledge as her oneness and make peace. Because throughout our lives, that many of us that are empaths and healers and conduits and leaders of people, leader of people through the ideas and the new notions of what we are as multidimensional beings, how we can heal our bodies through multidimensional healing and oneness and the alliance with light, the alliance with spirit, our oneness with God, our oneness with who we are as soul. In those powerful, profound, pure, intentional moments of just wanting to feel better, of releasing the densities, of releasing the shadow energies that have held us back, we must get to the core of that story. And that core of that story was showing her that all of those times that she felt worried or entrapped within situations, or that she couldn't move forward without people watching her or claiming part of her light or hindering her movement. And all of us as empaths and warriors of light, we've all felt those experiences, because in many, many lifetimes and earth timelines, they didn't work out for us for eons, because it's been such a over-programmed society of fear-based beliefs and fear-based control systems and social systems and corruption. I mean, it's so steeped. But now everything is breaking up and falling away. So now we get to create from scratch. So as we're finding these dense particles in our social reality, as things are breaking away and falling away, what are the reflections and the observations showing you? Is it showing you separation? Is it showing you competition? Is it showing you anything that's triggering you within, that you're not worthy enough, you're not valued enough, you're not being heard, you're not being honored, you're feeling separate? Those are aspects for you to call in and feel your wholeness. As a creative visionary, those aspects were those worries and those paranoias to say that I'm not safe to go forward in my creative beingness. And spirit and God's promise is that every child of spirit, every child of the heavens, every child of all creative realities, all realms, all beings, all bodies, all planets, if you're purely intending to constantly wake up and feel excited about who you are, have fun just to be you, have fun to explore creative reality, that is God's promise that you will have every ability to do so and be so, for the greater good of all, the benevolence of all, and harm to none. That's your creative birthright. That is your creative ability to say, I will evolve and I will transcend past all this darkness and trauma and dysfunction. When you're sitting in dysfunction, those are all of the stories and all the timelines that you can choose to say, I'm releasing all stories of victimization and dysfunction. I get to release that now because I've acknowledged it. It can be as simple as that. Doing so, chanting it and acknowledging it for a week straight, your pure intention to release yourself from all stories of victimization, especially if you've been abused over time. Whether it's a mental abuse, whether it's an emotional abuse, whether it's a sexual abuse, or whether it's a social abuse, whether it's discrimination, any story that you've been holding onto from any realm between 3 and 5D, and there's a lot, because we're creational beings and we're vast beings of space and cosmic oneness. So we've been in many different bodies and many different forms, and we've taken on many, many roles, some of them dark and some of them not dark. But now, because we're so awake, we're so aware, that means that in now moment, I'm aware that I can choose to create oneness. I can make peace with my past. I can create oneness with who I've been and what's been going on in other realms and other experiences. And anytime I've held myself separate from who I am, then I can choose to bring that in with the purity of my heart. The purity of your heart is your oneness with spirit, and spirit will call that dense experience, that dense fragment in to be a now creative experience where you've just claimed that aspect of you through this rotating sphere, and any particles and any fragmentations of however that body was bruised, however that body was set apart from itself. Any way that a body is injured upon itself of thyself is a wounding to the soul, and it must be healed. And that person in this now moment, in this now harmonization, has the power, has the infinite ability, has the eternal light and help for no other tools outside of them than to heal those soul fragments. And why there are beings like myself, healers like myself, conduits like myself, visionaries like myself, that we can see into the Akasha where that damage took place. And we can assist in calling that soul fragment forward to be harmonized so that that soul can participate in a new now moment of being whole. Where that body experienced a dismemberment, if you will, or death, if you will, or maybe it was victimized, or maybe it was in a war, that particle and that harm to that body is now being brought back into the love through spirit, because spirit is micro macro. All of us in these individual bodies are the aspects of source. Micro macro, again, the particles of that dodecahedron is spirit, is God. So as we're reconnecting with God, as we're reconnecting with those particles of us, that experience that might have been a fifth dimensional Arcturian in a war millions and millions of years ago, that particle of us still needs us to call it back, because we are now the awakened soul of it, just as God is us. God is aware of all things, all beings, all spaces between space. That's God. The essence of God is between all things. So as the essence of God is all things, whatever you're intending of vibrating, radiating, as a creator, as an entertainer, as a musician, as a painter, as an artist, those are the energies that you're culminating and creating that new reality. And why it's so important, that daily work, that daily harmonization, that daily realignment, that daily reactivation of who you are, so that you're standing in the power of now and you're choosing your choices, not repeating cycles of density, not repeating cycles of victimhood, not repeating cycles of less than or jealousy or envy. All of those are the shadow energies. Everything is about quantum mechanics and quantum science, the science of evolution, and the catalyst that creates love. It's always love, it's always there. But when you're held in such dense beliefs of separation and less than, you've got to re-entrain yourself to remember the laws of oneness, the laws of love, the laws of evolution, how our planets don't just unnecessarily rip off into creation and just detach themselves from our galaxy. Everything must be held in balance. So if you've had lifetimes of taking and taking and taking and taking and taking, spirit says, and your soul says, okay, now it's time for you to give. Now you wanted in this reality, you wanted in this experience to be a giver of life, to be an honorer of life. So maybe this lifetime you've chosen to come forward and be a healer because you understand the quantum mechanics of what alchemy is, of how energy works, how the universal laws work, how the soul fragmentation works, and how to call it in and have it healed. How the psyche and the psychosis move through their various challenges of understanding itself and expanding in thyself of oneself with spirit. Not detaching itself from the higher mind, but actually being the higher mind, because the higher mind and the higher self is what guides you through all life, not the ego. The ego is a tool to assist you and maintain manifestation and maintain your safety upon a physical experience. That's it. Ego is not the driver. And as the ego gets warped and misguidance, if you will, it becomes even more imbalanced. So the scales are not balanced anymore. It's imbalanced in a negative perpetuation of a negative cycle. So what's needed to bring that up is the inner self-centering, grounding work of spirit in alignment as above, so below, as within, so without, so that your outer now creation is from a new standard of belief, a new standard of behavior, a new standard of knowing, a new standard of creativity, because you've set yourself, no, I am a creator and I have full acknowledgement and full capacity to create as I will. I am the creator. That is my alliance with spirit. Spirit will never be without me. And spirit is that energy that helps heal and call in those fragmentations, call in those energies of injustice or imbalance. But it's up to you to learn the lesson. Why was I holding myself back in worry? Why was I holding myself back in lack or self-belief that other people's opinions affected me? Other people's opinions are where they are at consciously. It has nothing to do with who you are. So if you're an entertainer, if you will, and we wanted to talk about this because I had some beautiful downloads about creative evolutionaries. Creative evolutionaries, those ones, the profound artists in our history, so many of them, and how they've been shaped and molded by the environments that they sit within. And no, very few artists, very few entertainers, the entertainment business in and of itself is not an awakened business. And so there's going to be much growth and so much great things being done in the next 5 years, because as we are awakening as a conscious collective, we're going to be asking more of higher vibrational resolve, higher vibrational output, and our hearts are just aching for it. And therefore those callings and those answers will be done. They'll be heeded, because that's spirit. Spirit is everything in between spirit. And so as you're aching to offer yourself creatively, spirit is therefore then returning those energies to you. Spirit, creator, God, the creator. That's why spirit gives you those inspirations in of spirit, because you are in alignment with spirit and you have that excitement to just create as you, to be excited and to create as you. But there's been so many artists throughout time where they've been so impacted and impaled by the outer world, because they're energy beings, their vessels are energy beings. They live within Merkabas, and their energy fields are filled with the attentiveness of being in tune with what their collective is looking for. So they get these inspirations and these great songs. However, there's still a world that is unawakened. There's still a world that is living from ego. There's still a world that's living of greater understandings and greater belief systems of lack of self, because very few people live from a pure sense of self-knowing, that they are nourished by spirit. They're in alignment with spirit. They're being operating as spirit. They're living from this space of egoic lack. Well, if they have it, then I don't. And then that becomes, I'm going to take it from them. And that's why we see so much of the crime evolve, because they're still living from that sense of self that they are not spirit. And why we've been saying for the past year, and it's been a part of my mission, a part of my gift, is to come forward and say that everything that is ever needed for anybody to feel what they think they want as an ego might not be this timeline for them, might not be this lifetime for them. That might just be an ego want or need. And that's why that inner self work is really important. What is my natural gift that I can offer forward? Because if it's excitement for me, then I know I'm meant to be doing it when there is no harm to others and you're living in a benevolent way of life and integrity. If it's not truth or integrity, then it will be short-lived and it's going to be broken. That's just a guarantee, because it's not in the balance of the universe. It's not in balance. It's not in operation. It's not in alignment of the universal laws. So eventually it will break down. But there are those that still live in the lack, and there's those that still live in the less than self, the lack of writing out who they are, and they still feel that need to fight against the system and the universal laws by taking and corrupting and being in crime to those that are simply expressing who they are. So that's why we see these great things unfold in our social world and our entertainment world, because they're bringing forward their own unique truth, and it brings insecurities and it brings triggering to those that are not fully operating in their own sense of self. That's what light does. Light and the purity of truth, which means that if this person is just speaking of their truth of pure will and there's no harm to none, they're living in that purity of who they are, because they come with a soul family that is also feeding them that energy of truth, of believing in yourself and knowing that you can overcome, and knowing that your story is important, and knowing that you are precious and your voice is held true. Just in standing up for yourself, that is truth, that is light. And that vibration of truth can trigger those that are not living in their truth. And that's when they start to react and behave in ways that want to take from those that they think has it, but they really don't. They might be in the same, if we say, because everybody's so superficially and financially and material aligned, that they think that that's the only operation of the world, or that's what makes the world go round is money. And That's how I can receive my status. That's how I can receive my importance as money, because that's where our focus has been for thousands of years. That's how all of our social systems have been guided over eons, has been through monetary status, and it means nothing to who you are as spirit. And that's what we're seeing now. Whether you're operating in spirit or not operating in spirit, whether you're being nourished in spirit or not operating and nourished by spirit, there's a difference, and you can see it play in our world very, very clearly. Those that are balanced in spirit and operating from their highest truth, and those that are not. It's not a separation, it's not judgment. It's what each person needs to see to know that, wow, I can go within and live from my clarity of truth. That person is a reflection of me. I can speak my truth and it's safe, it's okay. Because when I said that client earlier, she had that fear in her experience, in her vibration of her allness. There was an experience here that she had not healed yet. She had not made peace with it. Whether she was at fault or whether she wasn't at fault, it doesn't matter. It is the forgiveness that spirit is asking that everybody take. So whether an experience happens on the other side of the world, or whether an experience happens with somebody in your family, it does not matter the fault or the blame. It matters that everybody involved requires to forgive and move on, because that heals it for the all. They're merely fragments and fractals to what's been going on in other realms and other dimensions and other forms. And everybody plays a part of the story of unity and oneness and peace. So how can you make peace with what has happened, with what has occurred? What are the core stories? Where do you feel lack of? Where do you feel a lack of self? Where can you create this new creative visionary for yourself? You are creatively infinite. You are creatively motivated. You are creatively embodied as spirit. You have a Merkaba that is pure spirit. You have the answers to all questions you ever want to sink within you. Everybody has a Merkaba. Everybody. Everyone. And because it's your Merkaba, it's your destiny, it's your story, it's your soul, it's your body, it's your spirit, it's your timelines that you've experienced, nobody and no one has any right to tap into your Merkaba, to tap into your destiny, to do any of the stuff that has happened and been evident to me on my path and what has been occurring behind the scenes, if you will, that people don't think I'm aware of. I'm a visionary. I'm kind of shown this kind of stuff. I'm a visionary. God shows me what's being taken from me. God shows me what those people are trying to scheme and scam. Spirit shows me. My destiny is mine. I've earned it. The timelines that I've come through, the worlds and the realms that I've come from, I've earned it. And nobody, regardless of what they think they are and who they think they are, they cannot take it. They cannot replace it. They cannot suppress it from me. They cannot take it from me. They cannot switch it. Nothing and nothing can be done, because God is God is. God is the writer of all my timelines, of all my bodies, of all my forms, of everything, of everything, of everything. As long as I'm aligned within, me and God are together like that. Creative visionaries, me and God. And everybody so too has the same equal responsibility, equal accountability to where they are in their life. Everybody is a visionary within themselves. Everyone. Everyone has the same capacity to align with God. Everybody. The question is, what beliefs and what attitudes and what perspectives, what are you being fed from your Akash? What are you being fed from your lineage? What are you being fed from your family and your lineage and your dogma and your social? Who is surrounding you? Are you being nourished? If not, then change it. You can't expect change if you're making the same choices. And that begins with your own self-love, with your own self-ideas, with your own self-writing, with your own self-design. Reclaim all that power instead of giving it away to dogma, giving it away to social structures, giving it away to what others think about you. And those that are in the spotlight, those that are in the entertainment world, those that are famous writers or teachers or healers or leaders, that outer world is so important to just have as an outer world, be in the world, but not of it, and maintain that alignment with spirit, and maintain that alignment with who you are as spirit and source and the soul of you, and maintain that cycle of awareness of what is your ascension cycle, so that you know when you're coming up to a soul fragment harmonization, when you're harmonizing that part of you that was wounded. So that when you're moving along your ascension cycle, you might be coming across a timeline where you were very, very wounded by something that you created maybe in another timeline. And you might see something in the paper where something really, really harmed you because it was degrading something that you felt so sacred of. And that was your creation. That was your pure intention of pure creative excitement and pure creative offering for your collective. And you just did it because it was grateful for you to express who you are in that moment and to create with other magicians of creativity, whether it's music or painting or art or writing or manifesting earthly creativities with our earth, with our planet, with our nature, with our wildlife, whatever it might be that you're offering as your excitement of you, that is maintaining your alignment as the sacred child. And everybody that is the promise of God, that all children will have the reunification the wholeness to live and experience and express and excite themselves as the sacred child once again by healing the wounds of misguided understandings, misguided beliefs that we were ever separate from spirit. The mother and the father are one with us. That is the sacred Trinity. The sacred child, the mother, and the father. And in every moment, we have a new moment to create that unification by expressing who we are creatively. And whatever outside pressures are coming in, whatever negativities that you are healing, whatever negativities and beliefs that you're healing, you're going to create this now moment of the infinity cycle, the spiral of now, the spiral of now, the spiral of now. In this now moment, you can choose from the higher self of who you are. And I'm going to heal that. I'm going to call that in. I'm going to make peace with when that happened. I know I'm being sensitive to others' experiences and others' projections of me and others' reflections of me and deflections of me, but I know who I am with spirit. I'm going to write it out every day. Because my opinion of me, my work with me, my love of me, my creativity with me means more to me than anything. I know my story. I know who I am. I know what I experienced. Nobody's impression, nobody's want, nobody's need, nobody's desire to control me, nobody's desire to have me on their team. Nobody's will of me is more important than mine with spirit, period. That's why any tricks and any schemes and any games and any spell work and any malarkey and trickery that anybody thinks they're doing, spirit knows before it's even done, because spirit is that person doing it. And spirit is also everything else. And why there will always be protection, there will always be guidance, there will always be that 10 steps ahead, because light is of intelligence. It moves at a different pace. The cells oscillate differently in light. Darkness has its same routine, its same patterns, its same cycles. To break that darkness, one must be of pure of heart. Do you feel love for yourself enough to break the pattern? It's your pattern. You chose it. You created it. Do you want to break the pattern? And that's what each person must face. Face the shadows of taking, face the shadows of putting people down, face the shadows of being contentious towards others, because it's only you with you. That's all it is ever, you with you. So suss it out, face it, heal it, call it in, honor it, accept it, value it. It's you. They're particles of you through all times, 3 to 5D, that are asking you to own who you are. Acknowledge who you are, face who you are, and know that whatever is happening in the outer reality is all you creating you. What is it that needs to be accepted and healed? What is it that needs to be faced? That's why we're changing all of our social paradigms and all of our social structures and all of our social belief systems. How has it been okay for thousands and thousands and thousands of years for women not to have a voice in our social story? The number of people on our planet, 8 billion, the number of people on our planet that can remember divine sacred stories of divine feminine being leaders and teachers and healings on our planet would be less than to fill up a half a city, one city of the entire globe. That's how little we have been lifted, we have been supported, and we have been valued in our own creational story for thousands of years. There must be a rebalancing. The imbalance to our elders has been so misbalanced because it's been taken over by the oligarchy, thinking that they had control of the systems, they had control of the resources, they had control of the money, fear-based systems, fear-based governments, fear-based politics, and it goes on and on and on and on and on. And why we're seeing everything unfold the way it is. Because we're seeing very blatantly who is operating in spirit and in truth and integrity and who isn't. And that's okay. Those are aspects of us we need to accept and heal. But now we get to, as creative visionaries, how can we all manifest from the alignment of light and align with spirit, align with our 5D grids, align with the heavenly councils? Because we are preparing in the next 10 to 15, 20 years, we are preparing to come into oneness from all of our planets in our galaxy through the galactic federations and the councils of light and the heavenly bodies of light and the heavenly programs of evolution for humanity, because that is God's promise. Those that choose with intention to evolve will have their rights to evolve, and nothing will get in that way. We will not go backwards, and it's not an us and them, and it's not a light and dark, and there's no wars about it. Every person has a choice in every moment to choose peace, accept all that we are, and compassionately love one another through the acceptance of one another. That is bringing oneness to this war-torn earth that doesn't need to be. Crime is unnecessary. War is unnecessary, and violence is unnecessary. You clear your karma by creating truth, maintaining truth, sustaining truth, living by your own creative truth and expressing it. You will evolve by expressing your truth. You will be healthy in expressing your truth. Whatever your truth is, because your truth will change. As you expand into a higher consciousness being, your truth will change into greater oneness. As you heal your separation, as you heal your judgments, as you heal your less than and lack of, and why writing your self-design, your self-divine design every day is so purposeful. Sit with your guides, ask your guides, your higher self. Who am I in my highest imagination? How can I dream? Who am I as this beautiful world motivator of love and passion and creativity for all children to reclaim their voices, for all children to reclaim their sacred talents, and to us express ourselves in new ways so that we can have galactic schools of learning and higher vibrational exploration and expression. Our schools will not be the same. Our schools will change within the next 9 years. It has to. We're higher vibration. We're going to be turning and activating all of our chakras. We will be activating our DNA that comes from other systems and other timelines and other beautiful DNA that we don't even know about, that hasn't even been studied or tested. And I'm going to be a part of those healing programs and those maintaining programs so that we are oscillating in higher and higher vibrational light. And how do we process that? How do we learn? How do we bring that in and integrate it? How are we integrating greater light? One that is sitting in great density cannot integrate greater light because there's too many wounds to heal. So their program of healing is different than somebody that's already operating in partial vibrational light. Everybody on this planet is living from a different vibrational earth. They have different perspectives of earth, different perspectives of their body, different beliefs. And that's meant to be. It's a very diverse and profound experience. So I've been saying for years in my videos, what we're going through is undeniably unexplainable and profound. But we've had so much focus on the outer world, we're not even paying attention to what's going on within, and that's where all the magic happens. That's where all the healing happens. That's where spontaneous remission and spontaneous healing and clearing occur. That's where you're clearing karma. If you're not a pure of heart, you won't clear karma because you're still acting from the malevolence of the ego. The ego wants, the ego gets. So what you might think you want is not really your soul lesson. Spirit will say that's not really important to us right now. Your higher self and your guides will say that car, that those numbers in your bank account, that's not what is important. What is important is that you heal your lack of self, because you're not going to maintain anything. You will not maintain abundance if you do not have a profound sense of self. You just won't. Spirit will not put you in a leadership position if you don't have a sense of self. If you don't have a sense of self, how can you lead others into a sense of self? How can you show others how to alchemize so that they can be claiming of their own sovereignty if you don't have your own sense of self? How can you be an entertainer of great 5-dimensional vibrations of co-creation, of 5-dimensional vibrations of expansive creativity, if you're still in that lack and competition? So everybody's got to face their own inner lack. And it's a profound journey. That's where all the courage is. That's where all the bravery is. It's not an us and them thing. It never was and never will be. It's about giving yourself what you didn't have when you were a child or on another realm, or those beliefs that you cling to that keep you feeling bigger and better than others, but it really doesn't. It's just manipulating the spirit and the soul out of a profound experience of who you are as one. Because you are one with that very thing that you think is not yours. You are one with that thing that you think that has something that you don't. You're one with it. You just haven't got to that place of acceptance. When you get to that place of acceptance, you will exactly have what you're meant to have and experience what you're meant to experience. That's the perfection of God. But we've given those powers to outer experiences that claim to have our highest and our best interests, and they absolutely don't. Reclaim that power, reclaim that light, reclaim all that is you. You can only claim what is that you. You cannot claim what is for another. You cannot claim another's path. You cannot claim another's voice. You cannot claim anything from anybody. And that's why we've been bringing forward these teachings. And that's why those that are not in awareness of the higher vibrational universal laws, those that are using energy work of abuse, those that are using their titles of abuse, those that are using and abusing their power, whether it be in spiritual practice or otherwise, it is very important and very vital that you understand universal laws. Spirit would never, ever ask you to bring harm or blockages or creating chaos or confusion for anybody. Spirit would never ask of that. And therefore, those that are taking money and being charged and doing all of those things that create that for others, they will have equal karma than those that are intending it and wanting it. Until those wounds are healed, we must go within and create reflection on why we feel that necessary. Why do we feel it necessary that we cause such pain to others? Why would anybody want to cause anybody confusion? Why? Because you want them smaller than you, because you want to feel good, then that means it's a lack of self on yourself. Why would any musician or entertainer want to cause harm to another? Because they have judgments about what that person is speaking or they are being triggered in. And that is not of that person, it is of who they are. It is not an us and them. It is what is going on within you. Reclaim it, bring peace to it, bring love to it, accept it, own it. No harm, no crime, harm to none. It's not necessary. There's wisdoms and intelligences out there to heal all these basic human experiences. And these crimes and the violence doesn't have to occur. It really doesn't. If even half of our planet took a half an hour to 45 minutes or an hour every morning before even stepping outside of their home or their hut or their structure or their car or their vehicle or wherever it is that they sleep, and spent 45 minutes just thinking and honoring and focusing and intending and directing energy up from the heavens and down into the heart, and start harmonizing those soul fragments of judgment, start harmonizing those inner child woundings that felt you separate because you were put down when you expressed who you were. And that left a very dark wound. Maybe those wounds from when you were beaten as a child or abused as a child, or maybe from another lifetime that you don't understand. That's why healers like us are here. We can see into timelines. We can see into the Akash. We can see where that soul fragment is and why it's causing you trouble now. It's all healable. It's all very profound. There's no judgment. There's no blame on anyone. But every person is now awake to what's unfolding before us is so very evident and blatant. And everybody will take responsibility and accountability for who they are. What do they really, really exist within? What are we existing as beautiful, profound earth? What does it hold for us? Spirit is everywhere, aching to co-create with us. If we are the vessel of negative malice and intention, it's absolutely going to be returned to us because that's the infinity. That's how our earth will show it to us. And that will absolutely be returned. Nobody is left out of that equation. If you're one part of the equation, it will come back. So what are you emanating? What are you radiating? And we all have that reflection before us to go within and say, okay, I'm going to let go of that wound because I want to see my world peaceful. I want to see my world all nourished. I want to know that every child has food. I want to know that every child is taken care of. I want to know that there will never be a neglected child ever again. And I get to wish those things because I've been those children. Nobody has any right to say what my experience is. I know what my experience is. And I've worked and I've earned for everything that God may have before me. For I am the sacred voice and I am a messenger. And I can help people provide the highest vibration of entertainment that they wish to create within themselves, because that's why we create what we create. As books and as authors and as painters and as musicians and as singers and as songwriters, we create because it brings us joy. We are our own entertainment, and that's how it should be. And if it makes another happy and it brings a smile to another, that's just a cherry on top. But we are creators because it makes us feel so good to create. I offer what I do as a teacher because it makes me feel so good to share, because I have great wisdoms. I'm a great messenger and I'm a great healer. I'm a great visionary, and God has placed me here to bring harmony and peace to many communities and many cities and many countries that are imbalanced through the separation and the segregation and the judgment. We are spirit, every single one of us. And if the body is damaged in any way, whether it's this realm or another realm, this lifetime or another lifetime, that will be the experience that you see play out before you, that you're meant to call in and release that fear, release that paranoia, release that worry, because that's why that is there, because there's something in your field that's calling you to make peace with it. You are meant to walk forward with grace. You're meant to walk forward with vibrational excitement, insecurity of who you are. Everybody on this planet is meant to feel safe. Every person on this planet is meant to have a beautiful home that they can lay their head at night and to feel safe in their home. There is no need for corruption, dear lighted ones. This is our planet, and it's a glorious planet. She has fed us, and she has housed us, and she has cleansed us. And who are we in our behavior every day? What patterns are we carrying around that just can be simply healed by an hour of deep self-love and self-acknowledgement and self-acceptance? And it's okay that there's those that may not want to be on that path, and it's okay that there might be not those that care. But for those that care, you will always equally be rewarded for every moment that you spend in love and acceptance and honoring your ascension cycle, honoring your ascension path, honoring who you are as spirit. And just as an intention, today I walk forward, benevolence of all, greatness to all, excited to express, harm to none. That's such a powerful vibration, and you're going to have that return to you. Because no one deserves to be bullied out of who they are. Nobody deserves to be bullied into suppression or depression, or to be isolated or sent away from their homes because their families don't care about their expression, or their families don't support or nourish them. We all deserve to be nourished, and we all deserve to have our voices held sacredly and held in the Most High. For each and every one of us are an aspect of God. What representation of the heavens do you walk as? Are you representing the truth of who you are, or is it somebody else's story, somebody else's truth? Is your co-creative expression, is it veiled by rules and regulations and obligations, role definition, dogma, stigma, conformity, normality? Again, break whatever triggers you. That's ascension. You're ascending from what you were to something into your allness. Accept it all. It's all you. Allow yourself to be transformed because it is you. You get to choose. I choose this transformation. I choose to write a great story about me. I choose to express who I am in this beautiful way. I choose to speak in my voice of sacred tongue. For I want my ancestors honored. I want the voice of my ancestors heard. I want the heavens to ring true of all human life is sacred. All human life is sacred. And each of us have our right to express that and to uphold that, to change the laws so that every child is nourished, every child is held safely, that we change what is moving on our planet so that we're not living every moment to simply live and get by, but we express who we are in the creativity of who we are as spirit, and transcend and miracles meet us every day in the highest abundance. Because we're following spirit, we're being guided by spirit as spirit. That is the alliance of one. No more separation, dear lighted ones. Eons have gone by. We've seen what that brings. Call in your moment of oneness. Make peace with your past. Bring in truth and clarity and integrity, and live from that space. Or not. It's all purposeful. You can never rush through ascension. You can never be here when you've got to go through all of these points of recalibrating yourself and realigning yourself and recalculating who you are in every moment. So be at peace with the process. Be at peace with the pacing. You're right where you need to be to learn what you need to learn. So be okay with that. The creative visionaries, dear lighted ones. So on this big spear of evolution that they were showing me, it was really impactful because all of your guides and all of your teams are speaking through me to really spark some motivation and spark some inspiration to each and every one of you. Hold back for nothing. Move forward in your creative explorations. Move forward in your creative joys of what does fifth dimensional earth look like for you. Dream, imagine, become one with your higher self, become one with the soul of who you are. And you'll notice that as you become one with your harmonized soul aspects, you're going to be getting very hot flashes because you're carrying more light. Your cells are oscillating faster and quicker. You're going to want more things that purify your body. Eating more water-rich foods and allowing you to get yourself exercise. So you're moving any densities that are held within the muscles and held within the bodies. Because the more energy that you're moving, you're clearing out, you're allowing yourself to call in greater light and integrate greater light. So it's all a benevolent process of integration, 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 release, release, release. And that is the alchemy through the center of who you are as your oneness with spirit and God, and the all one creator. So as far as creational entertainers and creational reality beings, the creator gods that we've talked about many times, they've had all of these experience on many dimensions, many realms. If you're an artist, this timeline, you've had many other timelines where you've been an artist in whatever way. And this timeline, you want to do it a little bit differently. As you're harmonizing who you are as the soul of who you are, you're harmonizing on this new sphere of creator elegance. Creator elegance is all those codes and all those informations and all those energies that you've never really quite been aware of, but then now they're adding to your creational pool of how you're integrating those codes and why we go through those releases, why we go through the dark night of the soul, why we call in those experiences in our outer reality so that we can make peace and we can move into that higher creational reality and create from that higher point of perspective. You might have had to harmonize your lack of self or what you perceived as yourself or a judgment that you had of yourself. That judgment that you have of yourself is the judgment that you hold in the outer world, inner, outer, and is above, so below. So it's all a micro, macro experience and reflection. And so if you're not doing the work, you're not observing it, not being aware of why you're feeling what you're feeling, why you're going through what you're going through, what is the core wound to that, then you can quickly just release it through your own acknowledgement of it and just maintain a higher and align with a higher vibrational knowing, because everything is a code. Your chakras are codes. Your chakras are very beautiful sacred geometry, sacred spheres, and they're held within all places of our body and all places within our fields. And those get activated as we activate and clear out the densities within as without. The inner is always being healed first. The inner and everything is energy first, and everything inner is first. So everything that is matter form outer begins as energy first. So as the collective is clearing and as the collective is purging the densities of separation and judgment, we then start moving into a higher vibrational co-creational realm of oneness and unity. That means there's higher vibrational codes of creation. That means everything in the bodies of mechanisms, if you just see like the little cogs of the wheel. So as you get activated, this one little light activation can hold, let's say, a whole library of understanding and knowing about a topic you're really interested in. That one code. That one code, that's how light is. Light is so incredible. It's like the energies of a crystal. This one crystal can hold information that can be the entirety of one huge section of a library. Just one tiny little crystal. So we are no different. And that one code could activate something that you can now bring into your daily practice and bring into your daily offerings and bring into your new knowingness of you, and start creating music and energies and books and writings and words and synopses and all of these things that are of a totally different realm and being. Because you're now operating as a soul self, not as a singular individual self in which you were very limited and there was a casing or a ceiling, if you will. So there's going to be much to explore and much vibrations that will also trigger the energies that are also at their varying levels of experience, through which they're holding themselves in limitation, or they're holding themselves back in whatever levels of awakening that they need to be at. There is no judgment, and it's all purposeful. But just know that everybody is on a different path. Everybody is on a different level of awareness. Everybody has their own choosing of, through free will, of whether they want to go in and create that self-healing, that self-acknowledgement, that self-harmonization or not. So if they're not balanced in their mental, emotional, physical, or spiritual bodies, if they're not harmonizing or doing the daily work, then we will see those great imbalanced experiences in our social world. And therefore, all reflections for every person to reflect upon, because it's not necessary. If you're balanced and in alignment with who you are, you're going to constantly integrate whatever light is coming, because you understand the process. Oh, that's something I got to heal and I got to accept. Okay. And then you just take on those uncomfortable moments of just healing those inner wounds. And some of them are very, very deep. Trust me. I go through a dark night of the soul every week. I'm also clearing for our collective. I'm clearing for a lot of children where their voices were misused and their voices were taken from them. So I'm healing for entire collectives. So I understand, and that's why nobody has really access to my experiences or my writings with God or my soul with God, because God knows exactly what I create and where my intentions are for my collective. It's always been for the highest and greatest good, and I clear energy every day. Every day I'm working on energy alchemizing and clearing for certain collectives, and I'm calling in light, and I'm activating my higher vibrational codes so that I can offer higher vibrational light to the collective. So the creative evolutionaries are those ones that are bringing those new codes and new light to the entertainment world and to the entertainment genre, so that we're coming up with higher resolve ideas, momentum, spontaneous creativity, and we're just connecting with those beings that spirit is helping us get in connection with, so that we can bring this higher vibrational intellect and ideas to our collective in need, so that we can see our world, what we exist within, and who are we in unique and different ways that inspire, that encourage and empower us to be our highest version of who we are. Every moment we're harmonizing soul fragments, those aspects of us that were wounded in different realms and different bodies and different lifetimes, and we're here to honor it in the highest version of who we are. And in that honoring, you get that access to that greater light. Your light body opens up. It's like anything that's fogged or clouded. If the room is got all of these veils and all these curtains, and the curtains pulled, if you're not opening those curtains for that light to get in, that room will stay dark. But it's up to each person to say, I want to open that curtain. I want to open that veil. I'm going to get in the elevator. I'm going to push the button. That's the action that you take with spirit, and spirit meets you halfway. But everybody has to want to face those wounds, have to face the less than, have to face the lack, have to face in ways they've judged, and they have to face it. And sometimes that's a hard experience for some to do. And that's okay, because that's our reflection, just to hold compassion and oneness anyways. We still must hold compassion and oneness for even the worst of crimes. because it's still a part of our reality that needs to be healed. We need better social systems that are in alignment of the greater good, not of conglomerates or monopolies, not of any one person or any one group or any one sect having power over another or taking from another. There's no need. The universe is abundant in all ways. Everybody can be abundant. Everybody can be billionaires. There is no lack. There's no lack. We've been operating from the belief of lack, and that's why it's created such dichotomy and such polarity and such duality. But the universe is inherently abundant. Every soul has chosen to learn certain lessons and certain growth perspectives, because that's where the trajectory, that's where they jet out into new directions of co-creative evolution. And that's Spirit's promise to everybody. You don't come here with a non-program. You don't come here with a non-plan. Your spirit at every moment is allowing you to see how intricately woven you are within all creation. Nothing is a coincidence. Nothing is a coincidence. There is no such thing as a coincidence. A coincidence was born from that which was separate. You can't be separate. It's impossible. You cannot be separate. You create everything. Everything is miraculous co-creation of who you are as spirit. You're in a body form now, and the spirit of you is asking the body form of you to wake up. Your spirit. Would you like to harmonize with spirit and create something miraculous? Or are you going to keep holding yourself back in less than? Keep yourself in judgment. Keep yourself in vibrations that keep you unhappy and ill and diseased, or taking from others and taking from this and taking from that. You don't have to. It's all a choice, but it's not necessary. You are just as much spirit as the one next to you and the one next to you and the one in the church and the one not in the church, the one sitting in front of you. All is spirit. We are not defined by religion. We're not defined by anything. You are defined by what you choose to be defined by, but it can be infinite. It can be eternal. It can be love. And it's all free will. But no harm should be brought to another simply because another doesn't want or doesn't like your offering. Everyone is free to offer exactly who they are without harm to another. Creative expression, creative exploration, creative experience is unto thyself to heal thyself. Thy will be done. No harm to another. And that is sovereignty. That is reclaiming who you are as a sovereign being of light. Harm to none, benevolence for all. That is Spirit's promise. All will evolve in their free will and their choosing to. That is the evolutionary promise. There is no higher law. The law of one. We will all return from whence we came, every single one of us. We will all return. The circle is who we are. Every race, every color, every gender, every elder, we are one. And so we wanted to say this one as we ended off, dear lighted ones. And we're going to bring in our sacred sea, a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful sacred sea. Those of you, I've been talking to so many beautiful women that are wanting to change because we're in the season of gifting, wanted to change and come up with some new ideas. 5D living and lifestyle. We often talk about that too, is how can you create this new starts and new explorations, becoming fifth dimensional and becoming your greater soul self. Thank you, Holy Spirit. How can we create these beautiful explorations of infusing greater love and acceptance and memories of our past? Because many of the people in our generation right now, they've disconnected from their elders and the stories that used to keep us so connected and living in oneness, and why sometimes we see the disconnection in our families and in our social structures and our social circles. There's been so much focus on the outer realm and the human material realm that we've missed that story time and that connection time. October was a time of connection. October and ongoing every day is a moment of connection, because you can't not connect. Everything is connected. Everything is one. And so how can you come up with some ideas this season on how you can share your elders' stories, how you can bring back that loving, sharing, benevolent, communion time with your children, with your grandchildren, and start creating the gifting that is more sacred in honor of your family and the stories of where you come from, and the stories that you were told when you were a young person. What are stories from your elders that you can pass down and maybe make a memory box and have it placed on your family room? All of those are beautiful stories and beautiful ways, whether it's a brooch that your grandmother held or your grandfather held, and you place a little poetic story in this little shadow box and this little memory box, and you place it on the wall and you share it with your family, and you keep those tribal and elder memories open and valid. Have your elders over as much as possible. Have your elders in for communion. Have them share their stories. Have your children ask about their day and share their stories, as they will ask you about your stories. Where you come from and who you are is how you connect with the healing of the past, accepting of the past, being in love with your past because it's who you are, having your elders reclaim and reheal their stories. These are great, powerful times of oneness and unity. And it's a great season for us to reclaim those moments of elder importance and the sacred children importance, and have your children sit at the feet of your elders and talk about the old times and talk about back in the day, and all of those beautiful stories that I know I shared with my grandfather and my grandparents. And I always, in every moment that I can, offer them to my children, because it's important that they don't have that in this generation where they're sitting at the feet of their elders, because there's just been so much disconnection and change in our world and the speed in which we live our life, that it's not taken heed as much as it should be, that is creating of that oneness and that unity and reclaiming the beautiful sacred stories of our elders. There's been generations left completely out of the loop of these elder sharings. And that's a way to reconnect the elders and the celestials and the galactics back into our stories, because we will be sharing them in open divine sharing and open divine communion. Thank you, Spirit. This one is the Moon Queen of the Sea. The Moon Queen of the Sea is receptivity. And this is just a gorgeous, gorgeous experience. And so what is the sea showing you and telling you about who you are? We have many lifetimes of, we call it the underworld. The underworld really isn't. It was just times we've spent in water where we were not in a land experience, if you will. Many of us, most of us have, because it's part of our DNA. Part of our DNA is to have many lifetimes where we were water beings. And what did those water lifetimes show us and help us and grow? How was it being in an aquatic body or an amphibious body? How can we create oneness with those experiences? And many of those are held where it's a completely different lifetime and lifestyle. And so we can honor those aspects of ourselves being brought into this now moment as we're harmonizing and having that third eye awaken to the many realms in which you've had an amphibious body or a beautiful aquatic body, and harmonizing it in your now moment to know that all moment is worthy of healing, all moment is worthy of creating oneness and unity. Because as you create oneness and unity, you're doing it for your entire collective, because you're doing it for those that couldn't. You're doing it for those that didn't have the capacity or the awareness to. So not everybody will awaken to the same level of awareness or consciousness that you will, but you have the potential to heal what you know, to heal what you know is a trigger for you to heal a wound from your past, from your ancestors' past. Maybe you can bring the ancestors and the families and the elders and the young ones together for a dinner this season. And maybe you can be the inspirator or the empower to heal and have everyone exchange stories with one another. And maybe it can be a beautiful scrapbook or a journal book where everybody contributes to a beautiful sacred story for the weekend, and then they share it with one another. And you start having those open communions of sharing beautiful sacred time with one another, so that we're opening and we're enveloping each other with this new fifth dimensional creative experience. How we share with one another will be different. How we open and create with one another will be different. It will be more communion. It will be more heart-centered. It will be more wanting to share with one another and sharing our life stories, so that we know that our struggles and our challenges are all the same. We all ache to belong. We all ache to be heard and to be seen. And there's no crime necessary for us to make those wounds heard and felt and known. We are all aching for the oneness. We're all aching for our vibrations of love and unity from one another, to accept ourselves whole, to accept our past, to accept the times where we've faltered, and to be forgiven by ourselves. Spirit will always forgive. Your purity of your heart is the alchemy that you require to clear away any blocks or any challenges or any karma. That's when you align with your dharma. So thank you, dear lighted ones. And we're going to do a light activation before we go. Thank you, Holy Spirit. We're calling in the councils of light and the beautiful heavenly councils and beings. They're beautiful co-creations for your greater humanity and the greater unity of all of you, for you're all aching to respond in oneness into greater cycles as you harmonize into new realms of earth. New realms of earth, as we said, as we're clearing, the collective consciousness is raising in vibrations, which means we're offered new codes to co-create from. So that means that as there's our creative now reality, there'll be those that'll be popping in for those creative entanglements and engagements. And many of them obviously will be our celestial teams and friends, the fairies, the energies from our biosphere that many of us can tap into and many of us can channel and help exchange stories with for our planetary Earth. And those of our collective that want to hear stories of Gaia, I will be offering those, as well as offering stories of our collective. Thank you as a channel of the beautiful Earth and the beautiful Mother Earth and the beautiful Mother Father God. Thank you, Holy Spirit. And I'll just channel for a moment, please. Thank you, Holy Spirit. So just open up your hearts, dear lighted ones, with the purity of intention to receive any codes that you need to release darkness and density, to release any stories and beliefs that have been holding you back. Take a deep breath. Feel the white light bathing your purity, bathing in purity, bathing in awareness, bathing in knowingness of who you are. I am clear about who I am. I love who I am. I call in all soul fragments and aspects, any light, any energy, any thought forms that I have left out in creation. My focus that has been outer, I reclaim it to myself now. Just reclaim all facets of you, all focus of you, all energy of you. Reclaim, 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 and a full body breath. Full body breath, call in light, call in light. I call in the highest light of the Holy Creator to bathe me now. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Feel yourself ground. Just feel your body embed into the earth. Feel the sand, feel the soils, feel your oneness with earth. Thank you, Gaia. Thank you. They're saying that the soul is a magnificent thing. It's beyond what many of you can understand and honor in your now moment, for you've been so focused on the physical body in and of itself, where that's only one fragment or aspect of who you are. Your soul is quite profound, dear lighted ones. Your soul is magnificent. Your soul is eternal, and it's always working and honoring with you. And so they're showing me this beautiful experience. So it's like I am centering in this orb, and you know how a top spins and it always has the center that the top and the bottom poke out? You know, the little spinning top that we always used to see as children. And as this top spins, there's threads of light that are operating from all these little other pops, spheres of light, infinite threads that are jetting out. And as this is spinning through the moment of time, it's culminating, it's harmonizing with all aspects of the soul self that's tuned into you. Those aspects of you are tuned into you. Not all the time, not in every moment, but they're tuned into you because they're looking to you for something. And that's when you can feel those triggers or those energies in your field. And why you're calling in those experiences to your outer experience. And it's just a matter of accepting it. I understand you. I'm a part of you, and I forgive you, and I make peace with you. Just as those things that you're looking up to and saying that that's not you because it's too far removed from you. How can you possibly be a famous painter? How can you possibly be a beautiful artist or a singer or a songstress? Those are aspects of you saying, I recognize you. You have everything within you. If that's your deepest wish and your deepest dream, Spirit will make it so. Accept it and make it as one. There is no judgment. There's no less than. There's no devaluing of anything. Everything is whole and everything is purposeful. You are a magnetic soul that is beautiful in the union and the harmonization of one. All souls are one. All souls are one. Make peace with what you see. Make peace with who you are. Make peace and harmonize in the light of love. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Thank you, Holy Spirit. And as you feel yourself just harmonizing and was accepting peace, accepting the past, accepting all unfolding experiences, you'll feel a greater peace and a greater sense of sensibility about yourself. You're not meant to figure out creation all in one ascension. You might come back for infinite lifetimes because you want to play in the reality of creating matter through who you are as spirit. Just know that you can surrender to spirit any moment you don't know what to do. I'm taking everything in my life right now, anything that's challenging, any problems, any hurdles, and I surrender it to Spirit. Please guide me. And you will always be guided from the center of your heart, what is truth, what is integrity, and what feels right for me. And that, my friends, will always be the next thing you step on. And as you always choose from that center point, grounding the greater good, harm to none. Is it truthful? Is it my integrity? Is it my expression? Is it my story? Then you always know that you'll be heading in the right direction for you, of you. Any other thing will confuse it. Any other thing will cause chaos. Any other thing will cause confusion. And so that's always knowing that you can align with a higher path. You can align with a new reality. You can create a new reality by just following those simple realignment steps, because that's how confusion is. Because confusion is the co-fusion of these realities of I know who I am. I know what my potential is, but I'm stuck in these old patterns. Just a matter of honoring those patterns, letting it go, healing it, and then saying, I want a new pattern. Right now, I'm going to speak from my truth. I choose this new pattern where I speak from my truth. I choose this new pattern where I speak for the greater good of all. I choose my new pattern where I'm here to help humanity. I choose this new pattern where I get to sing every day and I get to dance every day because it's just how I feel happy. It's who I am at my heart. And I get to share myself and express myself because that's why I'm here. Thank you, God. And as you feel the gratitude and appreciation of who you are as a creative being, you're always on those vibrations of codes and new beginnings, and feel compassion and love for all those that are still trying to sort it out. For separation has been a very, very interesting and very dynamic game. There's no blame and shame or guilt to all. There's none, for they're all journeys each and every one of you chose to take. So release the blaming, release the judgment. Allow everyone their path. Focus on who you are. Focus on the love and the healing of you. Focus on your love of you, the acceptance of you. That is why you are here, dear lighted ones. I'm going to do a beautiful loving heart activation. Love is everywhere. Everybody take a deep breath. Align with the highest aspects, align with the highest aspects. Feel the white light bathing your physical, mental, emotional, physical fields. Bathe your mental field, bathe your emotional field, bathe your causal field, bathe in light, bathe in light, bathe in light. Feel the white light bathing your fields, bathing your fields. Releasing any darkness, releasing any shadow energies, releasing any confusion. Just release it, surrender it to spirit. I give permission for my guides and my spirit angels, the soul of all that I am, to take away any confusion. Please, I return to my soul self. I return to me. I return to the heart of who I am, the mother and the father and the sacred child. This is my highest truth. This is my highest truth. And I return to who I am as spirit. And I choose to create in my highest benevolence of who I am. Any story is the outer reflection of what I am requiring myself to accept and to heal and to make peace with. For I'm a beautiful, benevolent being, and I choose to share my voice with the acceptance of who I am in all realms and all guidance. For I know that I am harmonizing into greater galactic space, greater universal space, and I have many wisdoms and intelligences I wish to activate through my acceptance, allowance, and acknowledgement of who I am. This is my own unique oneness. Thank you. And take a deep breath of love and light. And see any releasing of any cords, any energies that are holding you back, any belief systems, any vibrational stories, any imprints. And just do this daily clearing to stay in vibrational sovereignty and commandmentship of who you are. Your bodies don't have to feel so weighed down. Your bodies do not have to have negative entities. Your bodies don't have to have negative environments. You can choose new. You can choose new. You can choose new. You are in absolute control of your body, your destiny, your home, your sacred space. And it is about you setting boundaries on negative energies. Just navigate around them, set the boundaries. What is coming into your sacred space? What is allowed in your sacred space? Nothing can affect you if you do not choose it to. You are in absolute honor and sovereignty of who you are. Nothing can affect your consciousness. Remember, you are in absolute control of your consciousness, how it vibrates, how it shines, how it glows, how it manifests with spirit. Thank you, Holy Spirit. And I choose to express myself in the highest vibration of who I am, for I have access and I have my right to be who I am. This is my human right. This is my universal right. Thank you, Spirit. And we walk with you, dear lighted ones, hand in hand. All of spirit walks with you. You have every right to create. You have every right to explore who you are in this glorious planet. And we are so proud of all of you for continuing your journey in self-reflection and self-love and self-healing, and knowing that when you allow yourself the projection of love and light, you are healing all of creation. Accept yourself in all moments and all those brothers and sisters that are with you on this ride. For they are every part your family. They are every part your oneness. And we are creating unity and oneness for all realms and all systems and all beings and all sectors and all sects, and all groups are one. All energies in our planet can live together peacefully in the diversity of who they are and the uniqueness of who they are, as there are balance and unity and peace brought within each, so that each see each other as unique, as each see each other and not harm one another and not harm any groups because they are separate or unique. The allowance and the forgiveness of all, that is your lesson and your destiny, each and every one of you, for yourself, of thyself, and the greater good of all. Sacredness is spilling out from each and every one of you. We love you so very much. Love you so very much. I just see light going into the earth, light going into the earth, light going into the earth. It feels so good to be happy and whole and peaceful. Just call also fragments, releasing any densities. Thank you. I know who I am. I choose from a greater heart space. I know who I am. I choose from an aligned heart space. I know who I am. I choose for the greater good of all. Thank you, Holy Spirit. I see my earth as healed. I see humanity using their voice in peace and love and unity. I see my planet healing themselves and taking ownership of their path. I see my planet owning who they are as conscious beings of light. I see my planet healing and soothing the wounds of war. I see my planet bringing about peace and love and honor. I see my planet reducing crime and reducing all of the pain that has been brought to any other for the lack of self and the lack of understanding, and hold everybody up high. All children are sacred children of God. All children are children of God. There is all essence of spirit and God in all things. Thank you, Holy Spirit. The elegance of you is profound. And this has been Joanna from the Early Morning Ascension Show. And we love you so very much. Thank you, Holy Spirit. We love you so very much. And we wish you love and peace and gratitude for being with us on this day. Our links are below if you wish to send us a donation for these blessings and these honorings from the Spirit, Holy Creator. Thank you, that is offering us without flipness encouragement to everybody. Everybody is love and everybody is light. Acceptance, love, and allowance. We are the divine creators and beautiful, creative beings of new worlds of realities. And we wish you all love and light and peace. When you come from a place of peace and wish goodwill to all, that will return, and that will be the reality that you experience. We wish you many blessings, dear lighted ones. And bye. We love you.